Happy Monday.
Hello.
I'm here with Christopher. Hi, Christopher.
Hello, Jessica. How are you doing?
I'm- Well, today I'm doing pretty well, but I think we're going to talk about that today,
We're
right?
going to talk about all kinds of shit.
Yeah. Well, why don't you introduce what we're doing here because this was your idea and I love it. And
It
so
was
I'm going to
our
let you talk
idea.
about it.
I'm
This is
just,
true. We collaborated in one of our late night talks.
yes, and you were very tired and I was very amped up. So I was the one doing the channeling of the group, not the group, the collaborative thought stream that we were on. Okay. It was just coming out of me that night.
That's true.
So,
So true.
so welcome everyone to the Chronicles of Chiron. We've lovingly named it The Lion, the Witch, and the Healer because this pretty much sums up the whole evolutionary process that we're on, the ascension process. This is something that many of you are going through and probably don't even know it. You probably just think you have headaches. You probably just think you've got twitches in your body and you're just not really understanding what's happening. You'll definitely understand what's happening when it completely consumes your life sometimes, but just from day to day. But this was Jessica and I both have a Chiron sign in the first house. So we do have a similarity there and something that we have in unifying desire to heal. And of course, we both have quite a bit of Leo influence in our natal charts. Okay. We are both witches, witches with a Y, which are new witches. These are witches of the fifth dimension, not witches of the third. And of course, healers. So it's that evolutionary process from becoming the cowardly lion who wants to fight back to becoming the witch who wants to take their power back to becoming the healer who has their power. So it is that whole that ascension upward. So welcome everyone. We're glad you're on here and we're just going to talk shit.
Ah, this is going to be so fun. Let's talk shit.
Let me
And
get
then
on my knees.
we're talking about our shit, so this will be good.
Yes, because
what you go ahead.
Well, so many people are going through a lot of the things that we are going through as well. Okay, you and I, for some reason, have a lot of similarities, a lot of background. So of course, we're going to have our things we're going through. But I would like, if whoever's watching, please chime in if there's something that we're saying that's resonating. Let us know. Yeah.
I'm going to pull it up on my phone so
Now
that
I
I
know
can see.
exactly who Whoop Whoop Wahoo XOXO.
I know who that is.
I know exactly. Is that Sandra Green Boyd?
There she is.
We can't see your all's name. It just says Facebook user on the program that we're using. So, but we know exactly who that is.
But I'm gonna try to pull that up now while we're talking. But
oh yeah, I could do that too. I could share what we're doing right now. This video is not about how to get together.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say I'm going to say a few hellos while you're pulling that up. Hey, Ellen, Elizabeth Jones. I don't know why I always call you by all three names. Hey, Ellen. Hey, Chrissy and Winnie. Hey, Deontay. Hello, Marsha. Ellen, yes, please. We would really like for you to come play with us. Just text me. Let's set a date. In fact, I'll probably be texting you. I'm in. Hey, Anna Maria, I'm so glad you're here. Ria, hello. And hello, Haley and Michelet. Oh, we got Michelet. What's up, Queen?
Is it Michelet or Michela? I've been calling her Michela. She probably doesn't give it.
I'm pretty sure I've asked her if I pronounced that right. So if I'm pronouncing it wrong, I'm going to need her to be like, look, I lied. This is how
she
you
probably hears it so many different ways that she doesn't care, but
I know.
Just like Rhea and Rhea, I'm just like, they probably don't. I call her Rhea, so I'm just like, whatever. They probably don't give a shit.
And I call her Rhea.
Mm-hmm. I see.
I'm going to need you both to type in the exact pronunciation for us, please.
I think she said Jessica is right.
Oh, okay.
How do you say it?
Okay, cool.
Michelet.
Okay, let me see. I think it is Michelet. I'm still waiting for the comments to kind of pop up on mine. Here we go. On point with my name too. Well, I'm 2 for 2 over here, Chris.
Well.
But I did ask like when I talk to them both. So that's,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
never, anyway, we are
Anyway, back
here
to
to
the
talk
ascension.
about ascension. We're here to talk about magic. We're here to talk about astrology, all the things that are coalescing in our lives, the things that are bringing us together. Yeah, she said, Michele. Okay. So, very exotic of you. Okay. But I definitely want to, I interviewed Mary Kaswani, who is the president of the Astrological Society of Kentucky, for all of those who don't know who she is. And we were looking at a specific transit that I was going through. Pluto opposite Chiron was one, but Pluto opposite the ascendant, okay, and Pluto crossing my descendant. And she said this would bring someone into your life who has, because my Chiron is conjunct my ascendant, yours is not, but it's close. It's still in your first house. So there is a identifying with that Chiron energy, but mine is sitting on my ascendant, okay, in Cancer. But we both have a rising sign in Cancer, so both of us are going through a transit right now called Pluto opposite the ascendant, because Pluto is in Capricorn. And she said to me that when Pluto crosses the descendant, it can bring someone into your life, or it can bring you someone that mirrors what you're going through right now, and may have similar wounds and things like that. And for healing purposes, that you come together. And this, when Pluto has anything to do with it, it brings someone into your life that is very powerful. Okay, this does not mean money. This does not mean corporations. Power is a huge dramatic shift and change in your life because of this person. Okay, so, and I do believe you're one of these people. So that's why we're here. You definitely identify with being a witch, and I do as well. I mean, I always did. When I was a kid, I loved Hocus Pocus, the witches. I was the Green Witch from The Wizard of Oz every single year for Halloween for 5 years. And then when I wasn't that, I was Harry Potter for 5 years. So I get obsessed. I was obsessed with Harry Potter when I was a kid.
How did I not know that? I love Harry
I
Potter.
was obsessed. My entire room, I had, I mean, I can't tell you, my bed sheets, my lunchbox, every poster on the wall. I had, my grandmother would make me ties. Meemaw would make me ties that were the gold and the red stripe, so that I could have like a legit costume that was well made. Oh my God. Latex on my forehead. I didn't just draw a line. Okay. I was dedicated.
I mean, we did come from the same theater school.
Yeah, exactly.
Very dramatic at all.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And then the two of us together, welcome to the evening.
Yes.
Well, Ellen said Bewitched, and I used to watch that. And okay, I was the one up late at night watching Nick at Night, like all the black and white shows.
Me too.
Yeah, so
I
dressed up as one of the Sanderson sisters with my sister every year. So I loved it.
Yes, that was when I was a kid, I used to try to move things with my mind. Matilda was a movie that I really loved. I mean, anything that had to do with magic, the craft. So what it represented to me was a femininity that has always been within me, because I do not identify as male. I identify as non-binary. And this is newer for me. This is part of this awakening process. As you come to, your ego starts to loosen its grip on what you think you are. And also, we've entered the age of Aquarius. And Aquarius, Gemini is a bisexual sign, but Aquarius is a pansexual sign. So it is all about non-conforming. Okay, Aquarius wants to stand out, be a rebel, wants to be unique. And that's really what the age of Aquarius will represent. And of course, technology as well is going to be mind-blowing in our lifetime even. But with all that being, loved the craft of Matilda, especially, I mean, Matilda was the movie. Okay, everyone in my generation, the 1987 to 1995 people, Matilda, Hocus Pocus, these were the movies that we were children.
Practical Magic. I watched Practical Magic recently, And
Yeah.
also, I'm calling in that guy with like one blue eye, one green
Absolutely.
eye.
I thought he was so
I was
sexy.
like, bring him on. Also, okay, let's talk about the age of Aquarius, because you just said shit that just busted wide open for me this year when I was like, oh, I'm sorry, did you say, I'm sorry, you said I'm bisexual? What? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't know. So you're like, and now I'm like, oh, it is oh. I don't even know if I want to be with another man. Like, I'm definitely bisexual and more, like, I call myself pansexual. I can
Me too.
legit relate more to that. And like, also like opening that piece up, like learning that and being more authentic, but knowing I'm more attracted to women than men, like, but I'm still bisexual or pansexual. And also like mind-blowing. And I thought my masculinity was like out, and I was like, oh, this is different. Oh, let me settle on into that. Like, what the fuck? Like,
Yes. And I definitely have, I've been on a journey in my life of self-acceptance. Okay. Both of us with Chiron in the first house. For those of you all watching who do not know about Chiron, Chiron is the wounded healer in mythology. He's related to Sagittarius. He is also a centaur. He is half man, half horse. So, and the comet slash asteroid was actually called Chiron originally because of the healing energy that it was emanating. But it just so happens to be a hybrid organism, as it is an asteroid and a comet. So it was perfect that, because there's many asteroids slash comets in our solar system that are considered centaurs, and they're named after different centaurs. And Chiron is so huge, it does cause a specific effect on us. And even more poetic and probably mathematical is that Chiron is called the rainbow bridge, because it is the healer. It's where you can find it shows you your wounding when you come in. Okay, Pluto can also bring a lot of that stuff in, a lot of addictions, trauma, abuse. But Chiron shows certain woundings and weaknesses you have. You may not have abuse and trauma, but Chiron, you will have a weakness or an insecurity, and Chiron is what rules that. But it's to be healed, because that's what we come here to do, is to separate ourselves from source, to climb our way back, climbing ascension. But it sits in between the orbit of Saturn, which is the father and the disciplinarian, father time, karma, limitations, structures, rules, and old ways of viewing things, and Uranus, which is the new, forward, future way of looking at things, freeing yourself of limits and awakening you. It sits in the middle of that orbit, poetically enough, because you cannot get from the old to the new without healing. So that's why it's called the Rainbow Bridge. So Chiron for us, Chiron in the first house, it's not about accepting certain parts of ourselves. It's about accepting ourself and our identity and who we are. So having Leo in our charts as well, there is this dramatization that comes with this magnanimous energy, but also this desire to become different things before we really embody something into us. We go full speed into it. Okay, this is common for Leo energy, and we want to become it. It's a fake it till you make it kind of thing. Okay, like a lot of our lives has been spent acting something, because Leo's very ego. Okay, acting out what we think we should be doing. And I definitely have had a lot of that. Certain things that I put myself into, and certain standards I would hold myself to, that were so ego driven, and they were about what other people, and the attention I was going to get from it, and the validation I was going to get from other people. That intensified that. That's going to be there with Leo. But when Chiron is sitting in your first house, it's all about accepting the self for what it really is. Okay, and so that's what we have in common. And that also, with Chiron in the first house, we're going to feel healing very viscerally in our physical bodies. Okay, so our ascension symptoms may be more severe than others, because when something is healing, it's going to trigger the physical body and the identity. That's
I
why
have
we
a
talk
question for
about
you on that.
sometimes identity crises. Okay, I've been through them. Yes.
Oh,
Who
I feel
am
like
I?
I've been there.
I don't know who I am anymore.
Well, when we go through phases, we go through that. But I have a question about that. You know, what pops to mind is you have studied ascension because of your history with it.
Yes.
But you know, like this week I had intense migraines. I even messaged you and you were like, is that what it is? And I was like, oh shit, is this, like, I don't think about it being a symptom.
You took it to the third dimensional place, which is not invalid, because we're in the third dimension. Okay, it's not invalid. But I just thought, you know, I'm having a headache too, and I don't feel that I'm being, you know, when you use the term psychic attack, that freaks me out. That kind of stuff is stuff that I worry about, not because I don't necessarily think that it's really going to happen to me, but I have been through things where I thought that was what was happening, and the thought of that is terrifying. So I just was like, before you even go there, your third eye might be taking in more light frequencies, and that actually feels more correct.
It does. And I didn't even think about ascension. And then I think about it on this, like, I've had headaches my entire life. Like, has this been like just amping up from a young age? Like, I'm just throwing that out there.
No, I am getting, you need to be watching when you get certain headaches, when you call them migraines, where it's affecting the eyes, where it's making, where you can feel it behind the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
What you ate about 6 hours before that.
Cool, good. Like, I really wondered if it was ascension legit, you know, but thank you for that. I will.
But there's also something diet wise that you've always been sensitive to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I don't even want to go on that train right now. But
I'm not even going to go there with you. But
I'm like, let's too much here. Hold on. But I want to go back to like your headaches this week and things that we experienced that were very similar.
Yes. So
is that cool?
Absolutely, of course. So of course, I always have activity ever since 2018. In the third eye, in the crown area, and it can wrap around. Last year I had extreme sinus pressure, and people can say, "Oh, it's just, you know, allergy season." I know my body. That's why you have to understand. You know your. Okay, someone's talking about Arcturians. We're gonna get there.
Ellen.
Okay? Of course she is. We're gonna get there. But I was having a lot of throat chakra activity last year, and I have been within the last month too. For most of this year, I have not felt much activity here, but last year I had, for about 9 months, severe activity here, lots of swirling energy, tightness in the throat. And, you know, following that Instagram page that we both follow, when tightness in the throat it's just the thyroid gland, because all your chakras rule a specific gland, thyroid gland coming online, and more. We know now because of science how much the thyroid rules. So, but the aching in the jaws and here, it was like aching, and I had never had that before, and ever in my life. And, you know, I could still chalk it up to, well, maybe it's because I have to move to Atlanta and it's a different climate here. Well, it's not happening this year. I'm not getting that this year. So there's just, you have to understand when things don't feel normal, when it feels like the past few weeks I've been very thirsty and getting dry mouth. I didn't really ever think about that as an ascension symptom until I found that Instagram page. And I don't think we find those types of things on accident. So that's another ascension symptom. We think, oh, ascension symptoms are physical. No, ascension symptoms can also be starting to see 333, 444, 555, 888, 1111, you know.
Absolutely. And that's why we did this, was because we were experiencing so many of the similar things, and I wasn't realizing it, but I feel like what you just said to me was, I got to stop looking at it from just the 3D and be like, okay, where does this resonate here? Or is it a little bit higher? And that also, like, for me is like, don't forget, Jessica, you're supposed to be checking in every day anyway, you know, through my meditation and personal work.
Right. Yes.
I mean, I'm not perfect.
I'm not either by any means, and we're not supposed to be. These people, these gurus, and these people on YouTube, you know, who are telling you to reach out to your angels, and I'm just like, fuck off. You know, most of the people out there in the world don't have this, Archangel Michael, and Archangel Thundelfon, and I'm just like, that's awesome that you can communicate with them. I don't know that for sure. I, that isn't resonating with me. All it makes me want to do and all it makes me feel like is like I'm not doing something or I'm not where I'm supposed to be. Okay. It is totally fine to skip your meditation. It is totally fine to then come back around later and go, I should be doing this. That's what it's all about, is unlearning programming, which is also an ascension symptom. Okay. But, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say, Michelet, I'm not quite sure what your question is, just because we get a little back to like the comments coming a little bit after. So if you could clarify what it is, yeah, just clarify what it is, and we'd be glad to answer that. Sorry, just wanted to interrupt to get that in. Actually,
that is totally fine. What are some things that you were feeling in the past couple of weeks? We can talk physical body as well. I mean, purging of emotions is absolutely one, but because for us, it feels very visceral in our body.
I feel like I have felt my chakras activating. I feel my heart like boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I'm like,
so you've been having the heart palpitations.
Yes, I feel it almost all the time, and I'm feeling my truth in my heart, in the sense of, I usually I get a gut feeling or I'll get confirmation another way, and my confirmation started coming in my heart, and I was like, well, that's new. Thank you. I do feel like things have opened up and I'm getting more clear information. Sometimes I'm clearly channeling the information is coming through fast. Right. And sometimes I'm connecting like I normally do, but the information is more clear. Mm-hmm. So it very well could be that, but mostly my headache, like the headache, just for me, they get so fucking intense. Like it, and so this time I was able to use things to ease it, which felt really good.
What were those things?
What all did I use? Well, I definitely used cannabis tincture. Actually.
Okay. Yeah.
I used cannabis too.
Yeah.
Welcome to my world. Yeah. This is the authentic me, y'all.
Yeah.
But I used I had a friend give me a tincture for that specifically to try, and it really helped. But I feel like I did something else too. I was just really careful, rested. I made a berry smoothie with all my good vitamins in it. I thought maybe I need food, but I knew, because we had talked, it was an ascension symptom. So I like looking at it at a different level, and being like, what can I do here first before I drop into that 3D? So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I've been experiencing a lot of heart palpitations. Well, I guess I wouldn't say heart palpitations as much as chest pressure. And this is new for me, okay? So in 2018, it was all focused here, okay? Now, I absolutely had the solar plexus. Every time I have an upgrade is what it's called. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I guess you're constantly upgrading, but these are specific upgrades where I had spontaneous Kundalini rising or Kundalini syndrome. Okay, that was 2 years ago now. In about 2 weeks, it'll be exactly 2 years. But now, last year, I had the throat chakra was not necessarily opening. It was already open, but clearing or taking in more light, you could say. Chest pressure every morning lately. Yes, I just want everyone to know that the chest pressure, sometimes you can feel pressure in your chest, but my throat's been hurting. I've been seeing multiple numbers, and I've been feeling really, really thirsty. Yes, that's why we're doing this video, you all. This is, You'll notice where you're like, gosh, my mouth is so dry. I never really get that. Do you understand when you don't normally experience something, it stands out. I'll get to this in a minute about the chest, but another thing. Last year I had not slept because when I'm going through an upgrade, I do feel like my third eye is what's happening.
I was just laughing. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about the not sleeping. I was up for 36 hours.
Yes. Well, and you were probably channeling something, or there was a lot of energy coming through you. Mine did not feel like that. Mine was intense fear. But last year it was centered around a specific topic that we've talked about. Although we talked about it last night, we've been talking about it. I have not stopped experiencing these things, but it didn't come with this intense inability to sleep, intense panic and anxiety. Okay. So um, I mean, I don't know how much of the ascension world you've experienced. Like when you came into your psychic abilities and things like that, that was kind of, they've always been there. But 2 years ago, on September 29th, I was at work and I was on my computer, this computer right here, and I was making music on a break at work. Okay. I was just on a break. And of course I'm replaying these different loops of this song, okay? And all of the sudden, and I had not slept the night before, okay? So I did understand, but leading up to that, the months leading up to that, I was waking up in the middle of the night in a state of panic and didn't know why, okay? And I had, again, with the anxiety too. Yes, anxiety can be an ascension symptom. Anxiety can be a result of lots of things. So we need to be careful about that. I was in a state of panic. My face flushed, my heart was beating. I felt something go into my head and my heart just drop into my stomach. Like someone came up and said, I have to talk to you about your mom. And your heart drops. You know what I mean? Before they tell you, they just tell you something normal and you're just like, oh. Or when you're driving and you see police lights behind you and you literally, your soul leaves your body because you got marijuana in your pocket.
You're
or
like,
forgot your wallet. Yeah, and you're just like, holy fucking shit. But that was what it did. And I literally left the room and I went out there because all of the sudden, within a matter of 3 seconds, I felt lonely. I felt something was wrong. I felt something wasn't right. Okay. This was so sudden. And maybe it was from all the sound, is what I was thinking. Maybe from the sound replaying so much, sound vibration. I had no idea what was going on. But from that point further, I did not sleep for 3 weeks.
good
Okay.
Lord, I would die.
I had probably a week into that, I had someone follow me from work to an urgent care so that they could give me something because I thought I was going to kill myself. I kept feeling like I needed to kill myself, which I can look back and I'm sure I made the whole process worse by worrying about it like I normally do. So, but this was something, the head, I felt like I had a tight band around my head. Um, the center of my forehead and the top of my head felt like they were caving in. And I still will get like that if I'm very tired. I'll feel lots of pressure in my head. And it was never like that before 2018. I could stay up all night. And now it comes with this. I really don't have 100% explanation for all these things, because I can look back and go, maybe it wasn't this, but maybe it wasn't that. But I'll tell you, another thing that a lot of you may be experiencing is your vision changing. Okay, vision can become blurry, or you'll start to notice things out of the corner of your eye, because within that first week of not sleeping, of course I was experiencing dissociation, I'm sure from not sleeping, but also from the upgrade that was happening. I began to see sparkles. Okay. And I thought that they were white spots because the adrenaline and the cortisol was just eating through my optic nerve. That's what I thought. I was like, I'm just acidifying the inside of my body with all of this panic. And I just didn't know how to make it stop. I was tapping, EFT. I was tapping. I started going to therapy. I went and saw that medium in Bardstown, Kentucky that I always went to. I was just going to do I spent about $300 on supplements for anxiety, vitamins, minerals. I just knew that something was wrong and that it was sudden and I couldn't make it stop. And it wasn't until I went to Penny Sisto in Floyd's Knobs and she did her healing on me and told me I was an empath. And she told me, this is where it all begins for you. And I was like, oh, I didn't know what any of that meant. And another thing about ascension, before I'm going to let you go for a minute. I know I'm going on and on.
No, you're good. Keep going. But you're good.
When last year it happened again, September 1st, and I was experiencing Uranus square Chiron and Uranus square the moon. And Uranus square the moon was exactly 0 degrees, 0 minutes on September 1st. And I didn't know any of that. I didn't know any of that at the time. And the moon made a square to Uranus on September 1st, which triggered this. Because last year I had slept the night before and it still happened. So that was my confirmation that it wasn't lack of sleep that caused this intense panic, because I could not sleep because the pineal gland is taking in so much light. It's getting electrocuted or electrified, okay? It's expanding. It's getting bigger, but the pineal gland is like this big. It's supposed to be the size of, it's supposed to be way bigger than it is. It was shrunk due to evolution, certain ways that we were conditioned. The pineal gland, like the eye of Horus in Egyptian culture, is the pineal gland, okay? And last year I tried to go to sleep after not having slept for a few days and woke up in this major panic, and not about anything, just heart pounding. I mean, there's way more to all of this, but I went to the hospital that night in the middle of the night to the emergency care center because I knew I need medication. I didn't do medication in 2018 because I was so deathly afraid of getting hooked or being one of those people that had to be on anti-anxiety meds or antidepressants or whatever. And so I didn't do it, but I had to go to the hospital. I pull up to the hospital and it goes away. Don't get me wrong, I still didn't feel good, but the panic was gone. And that's how you know it's ascension, okay? Because it shouldn't have stopped. And then when I left the hospital, I was like, why did I fucking go there? That's going to cost me $1,200 or something like that, which I'm not paying. I'm going to tell y'all right now, I'm not paying that. They call me once a week, and I answer, and I say, fuck off. You're not taking my money because I went in there and you took my temperature and you prescribed me super cheap ass Ativan, which did help. I finally slept that night. Are you fucking kidding me? $1,200? Rant over. But as soon as I left the hospital, it came back. There's something, and I read about ascension symptoms, how they'll go away when you go to address them, and that's how you know. Trust me, I've done so much research and so much reading and reaching out to people during those times because it was so intense for me. I'm going to go get my water bottle.
Okay, go ahead.
But please tell all of them what you think about this real quick.
Well, I will, and I'll just tell you what I found interesting about that was, when mine started, I didn't think a thing about what was wrong. I kind of knew what was happening in my spiritual world, but I don't think in my mind, I didn't think about it on an ascension level. I thought about it, and I'm going to wait just a second and let him get his headphones in. But so I'm saying, I didn't think about my shift on an ascension level. I thought of mine as more of okay, my psychic senses, my spiritual gifts, whatever we want to, my awareness was opening up. And somebody did ask, so what is ascension? So why don't we just start right now? Let's clarify exactly what is ascension and what are upgrades and what that means. And then I want to keep going there.
So ascension is the process of, you could say, ascending, okay? But it's really not like that, okay? Because that would mean that you start somewhere that's less than, but that's the best word that we can use. Ascension is the process of moving through experiencing, transmuting energy over many lifetimes to become a soul integrated human, to become a perfected human, or become a perfected being. And you do this in other star systems and other types of organisms too, not just human, not just Earth. And but your soul does come here and incarnate several times in this wheel. You could say reincarnation, but ascension, while you're still in the physical body, ascension is not about getting out of the body, okay? Ascension is about moving to higher states of consciousness and taking your body with you. And we're all going to do it because after 2012, the mass awakening, or the great awakening, would begin, and that was the end of the third dimension. So there are people who are just, I've always been into spirituality. I've always had a connection going all the way back to when I was a kid, okay? I didn't see ghosts. I was afraid of ghosts. I definitely felt things, but I wasn't one of those kids who saw ghosts in their room, and I always heard the voices. And you don't, like, for us being mediums, that didn't mean that we had a horrible childhood, because the ghosts wouldn't leave us alone until we learn to control our power and all that. It doesn't have to happen like that, okay? So and being a medium is a result of becoming more open, but that is an ascension process. So what exactly are these upgrades? Well, upgrades are just like your phone. It's taking an upgrade and moving to a new operating system, new frequencies. Your frequency, your vibration is raising, okay, to higher frequencies. Like, there's nothing wrong with 96.5 FM, but there are higher frequencies on 99.7 FM. Just period. That's just frequencies.
And we do some of this, in our own personal work. What we'll find is, as we ascend into a higher vibration, those people and situations in our life that are on a lower vibration, there becomes this friction if you try to resist it going away. And it's like, why do I have all these chaos in my life? It's because you're ascending, and that stuff, you're trying to let it go, but you're not, wanting to completely. So things tend to fall apart that are meant to. Like, not all things. I'm just saying, like, there will be things that shift and shake a little bit that need to shift. And then you rise up in that vibration.
Yeah, because we are in the third dimension, and we notice the before and the after, the change. So, and most of the time it's our ego that causes the chaos, okay? Because we're not letting go. But that's another thing that you will experience. You can experience this with psychedelic work as well, but ego death, okay? Death to the ego. If you've ever felt like this, it's a sensation. I don't know how to describe it other than I did a 9-gram mushroom trip, and I did not understand. I did not feel separate from everything, but it didn't feel good because I was in a state of panic, okay? So instead of feeling one with everything, it did feel like that, like I was not me and that was not that, and I didn't understand why everything was separate. It didn't feel good to me, because my ego has a very firm grip. So for it to be ripped away like that was horrifying. So, but what spiritual awakening, and that's what happens, is you go through an awakening. You can go through several of them, but once you're awake, we call them upgrades, because you come to the awareness that this is what's happening. And so then once there's a new operating system available to you and your soul chooses to take the upgrade, okay, your soul is already upgraded, your higher self, which is lower than the soul, your higher self and the personality, because let's get this very clear, and this goes all the way back to Alice Bailey.
Pause for a second before you go there, because I need to say this because Spirit is guiding me. For those of you who just heard his story, and for those of you who use plant medicine, please do not go take 9 grams. Please do not go take anywhere near that. Please. If you need to know how many grams to take, talk to somebody who does know, and I can guide you in that direction. Just, Spirit said, please tell them don't do that. Don't do that. And
I will never be doing it again. So 9 grams was, I didn't really know until later that that's how much I took.
Fuck.
But I
Okay, now
can.
keep going on. Alice Bailey. I'm sorry. I
That's
needed
okay.
to get that out just because
No,
there
it is
may be
very
more that
important
have
for them to know.
access to
And I actually believe if you're going to do plant medicine, I mean, marijuana still is one, but plant medicine like that, it should be with someone or there should be an intention. Okay.
that. And we know people who facilitate that. So please, you can reach out to either one of us. So we just want to make sure you know that that's
Yes.
big stuff.
Yes. So in Alice Bailey's
We-
work, which is very esoteric, Alice Bailey, she channeled, if you will, Jwakul, who is an ascended master, is what we would call that. He probably doesn't look at himself as that, but Jwakul, as an ascended master, talks about the 7 rays and the circle of initiates and my mentor Scott Robinson, he is a 7 rays healer and a medium and a psychic, and he talks about the 7 rays and that your soul exists on a ray, your personality exists on another ray, or even it could be the same ray. Just like you could have a rising in Aquarius and a sun in Aquarius, it's not the same, but kind of like that. And then you have a mental body, an emotional body, and a physical body. The mental body is out here. The emotional body is here. And then the physical body. The emotions are magnetic. The thoughts and the mental are electric. That creates the electromagnetic field around your body. And they exist on a ray as well. But it talks about at some point in the evolution of the life cycles, the soul, which exists in a high frequency, will begin to manifest into the physical form. And for me, this would have began in the 1500s when my soul began to integrate into the physical body and I lost my mind and I was in a mental institution. This is one of my past lives. And so that is why I have such a fear of taking medicine, and mental illness is very scary to me because that was something I went through. Okay. Because a lot of these crazy people out here, their soul is beginning to integrate. Okay. And it's causing chakra openings and it's causing, when we were early humans, just like animals, if a lion wants to have sex with a female lion, he just goes and does it, doesn't ask her. You know what I mean? So on our way to becoming more evolved and where we are now, all of that was experienced, male dominance and sexuality and, rape, darker aspects, but see, from Source's perspective, that those things are not evil. That's where we start to get on this track and you start realizing that evil is a construct as well, just like time. And that there is no evil out there in the universe. There's just preferred and things that you don't prefer. But there were once things in that context that were not evil, okay? But they exist in a lower frequency range, not because they're bad, but because that's the frequency range in which they exist in. All frequency ranges are worthy of existing, okay? Rape, murder, we don't want those things. We don't like them. We understand that. But at that point, those things start to come up, and the ascension process is the process of releasing and transmuting lower frequencies into higher frequencies so that you can move up. And basically what's happening is we create this illusion and we separate from Source and we go all the way back here. And the ascension process is all about making our way back to Source. It's the infinity symbol,
That's perfect. Well, and when you were telling your story and some of the symptoms you have, I thought back to some of mine that, again, I didn't relate to the ascension, but one of my stories that I share it sometimes, but not often, because it was one of those stories to where I was like, people are going to think I'm batshit crazy, So, you all have heard my story about how my first message came in. Well, I was working at the dental office and getting ready, you know, for work one day and got my message. But the next day or a couple days later, I was laying in bed and I woke up to my bed shaking. And I felt like Whoopi Goldberg in Ghost, and where they like, the spirit goes in and it's like, ah! And I was like, oh my God, I can't breathe. I'm going to wake up. Somebody's going to have possessed my body and nobody's going to know. I was like, holy shit. And I just like curled in a ball. I was like, please stop, please stop, please stop, please stop. And like, for days, like I could not be in that bedroom alone. Like that was like, I've always believed in spirit. And like years later, Lynn Cottrell, who's been on here for an interview, she was in like reading from my guides and she was like, your guides are wanting to say that they're sorry for an experience. And that's what they had been talking about. Like they were helping me, but I must have landed hard. You know, I go hardcore in everything I do. So
Me too. So yes, that may very well have been something that happened to me. I have not gotten that confirmation yet. I identify more with, you know, just, I mean, the fact that it manifests as this, you know, hard to breathe, chest pressure. It has something to do with these chakras taking in more energy and energy leaving these chakras as well. Blockages, we call them blockages because these are the chakras not functioning at its optimum speed or rate, because everything in the universe has a masterful design. And through traumas and through different experiences and belief patterns that are not in alignment with that pure energy flow, these things get knocked off balance and etc. And so you were probably being put back into alignment in certain places. And I know how that feels.
They were like, shit, we had a lot of work to do.
So I'll just ask you, have you experienced muscle spasms and twitches in the body?
You mean like the one I've been feeling like in my left butt cheek down into my thigh, or like vibrational? Because my whole body is vibrating, or even like I'll notice my lips are vibrating. Yes. And I just kind of breathe with it, you know?
Yes.
That's a main one. Akila, is that how you pronounce your name?
How did you spell it?
Akilah.
Is this somebody that might be somebody that I know? What's her last name?
Basaru.
I'm pretty sure that's my friend Akila. Anyway,
it is. She said it is.
Okay. Yes, that's her. I've always looked at these unfavorable things that happen. Yes. Yeah, learn and perfect. You're exactly right. So, where was I? Oh,
Rhea, we're not doing readings tonight, sweetie. Thank you.
I know.
I know.
We
had
to ask, right?
Please always ask. We like your comments, but I just want to be clear.
So, have you ever had an eye twitch?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think I've had many, but I have before.
Imagine Bethany's on. Yay. Imagine having an eye twitch, about 100 of them in the bottom of your feet, and then probably 1,000 of them happening all over your body for about a year straight. Okay. So Bethany was actually with me. She was there when I had my first moment at work. Okay. And she was there during those weeks when I couldn't sleep, very worried about me at work, you know, looking up online, third eye opening symptoms, hoping that and I looked at her and I said, Bethany, please, I really, really hope that this is a third eye thing and that I'm not going crazy and that I don't have panic, anxiety disorder. And I had every kind of disorder you could think of. But so there's twitches in the body. This is just energy moving through the body. It could be Kundalini moving through the body, okay? Everyone's eye twitches, okay? Twitches don't necessarily mean, that has an energetic component, even when it's just from not sleeping, you know? being tired can make your eyes twitch as well, or being stressed. This is not that. This is thousands of twitches all over the body, and vibrations in the body not necessarily shaking, but humming or vibrating.
Vibrating for sure. Like, it's
Yes.
no question in my mind. Like, even as we started this, I noticed my body vibrating, and my body, when I jump into healing work, I feel even more vibrations. I'm like, oh, I didn't know we were doing healing work today, but my
Yeah, like
heart.
the bottoms of my feet right now are twitching. It feels like those eye twitches, but probably 20 to 30 of them now. Last year it was thousands all over my body all at once. And then 2 years ago, the lip twitching, feeling like acid was being poured down my face every time I would panic. About every 5 to 10 seconds, my heart would drop and I would go into a panic. And I wasn't, it wasn't like that. It was this overwhelming stabbing pain in the solar plexus, like when your heart drops, just constantly for 3 weeks, just constantly. And there would be several hours that would go by where I would just feel general anxiety, not super intense like that. But every time I tried to go to sleep, it would get worse. My body parts would jerk. Okay. I would,
Yeah.
okay. I would be in bed and my hands would move in these weird mudras, okay, is what they're called. And I would have kriyas, which are spontaneous body movements, jerks, and spasms. These are results of Kundalini rising and Kundalini syndrome. Let's see. Of course, the vision changes. Blue orbs, different colored sparkles, and things like that. Things out of the corner of your eye.
Sparkles, yeah, and out of the corner of my eye. I've noticed heat rise in my body. Like, I'll get a lot of heat or really cold. So temperature changes for
Yes.
sure.
So someone said, can cold chills mean anything? Because I do it. Let's see who said that. Michelet, cold chills are not necessarily an ascension symptom. There's lots of ascension symptoms that are normal things as well, like twitches and anxiety and things like that. But cold chills, no. Like when your hair stands up on end.
It's more of confirmation for me that
Yes, that might be that your ascension and energy or something like that.
Yeah. Kim asked if, like, the vibrations she hears when she goes to sleep, almost like a buzz, 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 is like an ascension symptom. And I feel like that's what I'm experiencing.
Yes, so that is just like ringing in the ears. So, but ringing in the ears and tinnitus can be caused by lots of things, but this is not a usual ringing in the ear. It'll happen on one side or the other, and a lot of times you'll get that ringing and it'll just be and then it'll fade away, but other times it'll come as tones. And mine happened throughout the year, but mine really happened probably daily when I'm going through my upgrades in 2018 and especially in 2019. Tones. It's not that high pitched squealing whistle anymore. It's more of a boo, and it's like, whoa. It's because you're downloading a frequency and you turned that you translated that frequency into a sound. That was all that happened. Okay, that's clairaudience. That was clairaudience coming online. Okay.
My clairaudience has come online so much more, and I was with, I can't remember which of the girls I was with, but I was with one of my friends, and I had such an intense ringing in my ear or tone in my ear. I was like, I'm gonna need you to hold on,
okay,
because it was so major.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yes. Oh, you okay.
Turning off the street lights.
So Bethany just went where I was going to go next. Okay.
Okay.
So she probably knew I was about to go there next. But ever since 2009, I apparently, right before I moved to Atlanta in early 2019, I locked my keys out of my car and this Uber driver came to pick me up. And I looked at her and something told me to tell her that she was an empath because of the kind of conversation we were having. And then she goes, that's interesting you say that. Did you know that you're a slider?
And were you like, what the fuck?
And I was like, what's a slider? She said, it stands for street light interference. And it's people who can make street lights go out. I was like, oh my God. That I used to think that there was a motherfucking sensor in the street lights when because I had 17 speeding tickets from the time I was 16 to 21. Yeah, I had my license taken away twice.
Yeah.
I thought that that it was some new technology, because I have had cops pull me over from having radars that were behind them, a radar here that sent a signal to their car. I've had that happen to me before.
Oh man.
Fuck the police, defund them. Um, fifth dimension.
And we're back.
And we're back. Fuck the police. Sorry. Okay. So, where was I? The street lights. I thought that they were putting sensors in the lights, because every time I would drive by them, the street light would go out. And then it got to the point where I would be driving and I would look up at one and it would go out as I looked up at it. And it still happens quite often. Okay.
So what you're telling me is that you're like Dumbledore.
It is exactly like that. It's exactly, I swear. Okay.
That's amazing.
2011, I think it was, I was driving. I probably was driving home from having sex with some guy that I was ashamed of having sex with. And I used to be very promiscuous, and I would leave feeling kind of shameful, Pluto and Scorpio, LOL. But I started to think this was spirit at some point. I thought it was my Aunt Tina who passed away, because she passed away in 2009, and that's when this began. So I thought it was her communicating with me with the lights. I don't believe that anymore. I believe it was me. I believe my energy field, or something about my energy, is able to do that, because it's every time. And I'll be with friends, and sometimes I'll be driving and the street light I just drove under will go out, and I'll look in my rearview mirror, and sure enough, it'll had just gone out. And I ask people, do street lights go out when you look at them? Everybody. No, what are you talking about? And I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. So that is an ability that someone has. But last year, when I was going through my ascension process, or an upgrade, I reached up to my lamp to turn it off at night to try to get some sleep, and it went poof, okay, and the light bulb burst. And I didn't turn it, I just touched the lamp. Ooh. And I thought to myself, okay, well, I have experience with this. I probably have so much energy coming into my body that I just made that light go out. So I said to myself, I'm going to go to inner space, which is my other job. I'm going to go to inner space and talk to one of the energy workers there and see what they think about this. I walk into her office 2 days later. I say, Dr. Atricia, and her light goes poof. She looks at me and she goes, sit your ass down. And I was like, I said, that's why she goes, you just burned my light out. And I said, that's why I came to talk to you, is I'm making lights go out. And she goes, we got to get this under control. Now you're going to go change my light bulb. And and then it happened again, probably a week after that. So I did notice. And then I had a reading with Jamie Butler, and Jamie told me that I had so much energy coming into my body. She said that they were telling her that it was like wild horses. It was untamed. It was leaking out of my aura. My aura was leaking. I had energy just spewing out of me, because I wasn't grounding myself and all that kind of stuff. And people say, I can go out here and ground myself all day and this stuff will still happen. That's the thing, is ascension's going to, it's going to do what it's going to do. And your soul, please everyone remember, your soul is like a 1,000,000 watt voltage. Okay. These bulbs are what, 400 watts? Your soul is 1,000,000 billion trillion watts. Okay. So as it begins to manifest in the physical body does not have the storage capacity to hold that type of energy. So there are symptoms of your body changing: the glands, the hormones, the physicality, the blood flow, the water levels, the electromagnetic energy. All of it gets messed with, ungrounded in that process, because the body was acclimated before 2012 to the third dimension. It existed in this third dimension. We're literally taking our bodies with us, okay? So there are going to be literal changes, but we also have to remember also, as this light enters, okay? It is light because everything is made of light. As this light enters and begins to fill us up, it activates and brings to the surface the memories, thoughts, traumas, experiences, emotions that are stored within your DNA strand.